Good afternoon, Stacia, and welcome. You're tuned in to Empire Radio 101.9 FM for another informative edition of the radio program of the Democratic Party of St. Eustatius. It's always a pleasure to connect with you as we share updates and keep you informed about the issues and developments that shape our island, our community, and our future. We have a full, engaging program lined up for you today, featuring important updates, meaningful discussions, and insights that matter to each and every one of us. Thank you for choosing to spend this hour with us. My name is Ernie Simmons, and I'll have the pleasure of being your host today. Joining me here in the studio is none other than leader of the Democratic Party, Island Council member, Ms. Raquel Spana Catty. Welcome and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ernie, and to all that are listening. I feel like it feels like forever since we've been here.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It was just at the beginning of the carnival season, and I just feel like so much has transpired since then. I guess that is what makes it feel so far or long ago. And I don't know if you have it on the program. This is a country that, maybe used to be just a name, but now it's our medical destination,
yeah.
And it took place with some of our people there. So if not even just for that, it should hit home. You understand? I saw there was a native of Curacao that died.
Yeah?
Yes. So
Wow.
we have to count our blessings, remember them in our prayers, and if there are any relief efforts, I haven't seen anything as yet from the Red Cross or what have you, let's get involved and do all that we can, because I know we always speak about the hospitality that we receive when we go to Colombia,
Yeah.
and it could have been us. You understand? It's so let's count our blessings and do what we can do for them.
I saw a video of the earthquake.
Yes. So several.
And I saw this one with the church shaking. A massive building
Yes.
there for
Probably hundreds of years. Yes.
and this church is shaking, and the things start to flap and come down, and people are being held back not to go in the vicinity of this church,
Yes.
and that was a really scary moment, and indeed to hear from persons who are down there the experience that they went
Precisely.
through. They had to evacuate the building, and when I was in Colombia, one of the things that I noticed when you're in the US, you can see fire escape.
Yes.
They pay a lot of attention to fire escape, and you see these structures outside of the building if anything happened. And when I was there, my son was he had operation on his leg, and he couldn't walk.
Exactly.
So I'm looking to see, because you're going in all these high-rise buildings, if there was
Have
a
lot of
fire,
places, yes.
how am I going to get my son out? And to tell you the truth, I didn't see any fire escape at all. The only escape you had was the stairs. And in my case, the stairs was right next to the elevator. You cannot use the elevator in times of emergency.
No.
So I was always a bit critical of the buildings in Colombia, but mostly thinking if a fire was to break out,
And I think that's a good point you brought forward there, Ernie, because I wonder how many of us are aware of our surroundings. I think maybe only when something happens. I think we are we feel so safe
Yeah, we feel
that
safe.
we don't familiarize ourselves with our surroundings to the extent of what if something was to transpire. I think if a earthquake had to happen to that capacity here, because I too saw videos and I saw persons coming outside, and I told someone, I thought you always had to go in doorways when
Hide under something.
yeah, or I thought you had to try and stay in place as much as possible, but in the doorways, because the structure or how it was built, that this doorway would be a safe spot.
Yeah.
So, and I just saw people going outside. I said to myself, that doesn't seem safe, because there could be things falling and going, So, I think our lesson for today, outside of our quote, is to be careful as well and familiarize yourself on how to keep safe and get to safety in these type of things. We always know about hurricane preparedness. That is what we are accustomed to in our regions, to have tin food, to have water and those type of things. But in other natural disasters, how prepared are we?
And when you build your homes,
Yes.
do you have exits, emergency exits, or do you have
More than one.
sufficient exits
Yes.
that you can have a choice, and how are your windows built? All of those things I really need to take into consideration.
Definitely.
On the cover of our program today, I have a picture, and I'm trying to figure out if it's a happy picture or it's a sad picture of the 8 students that left for the Netherlands to pursue their studies.
From our shores.
I must say, these were the students, I think, that left with assistance of Tulungulu in the Netherlands. But there are other students who left either before or after them.
On their own.
So they didn't go with assistance, but these are the ones that went with assistance. What do you think about the picture?
The picture is, I think
Is it happy or is it sad?
I can feel their emotions, Some have a smile, even though it's not broad. But I think it's a bittersweet moment, Ernie, and I think we can relate, It's excitement about what is to come.
Yeah.
The sign of independence, you're on your own for the first. And it's also you're leaving everything that you know behind, your loved ones, your home, your friends, because not everyone goes along. It is it's a bittersweet moment. It's a new culture, new weather, although I hear it's 35 degrees today, so it's not much different. But it is something, it's a new adventure for them. And I was proud to see still, of course it's a small amount compared to maybe other countries, but for us, for 8 students, and you said others left as well, the studies in the Netherlands have gotten, must I say, a bad rep the last couple of years. A lot of students are not choosing to go to the Netherlands to further their studies. So I'm glad to see that some are still choosing that route and still up for the challenge. And it's just good to see such a group of students going to study, It's always a good moment.
And fortunately, there's also English study programs available in the Netherlands,
Exactly.
more than you might think. When I speak with some of them, I ask you, but is it a Dutch school? I'm assuming that it's a Dutch school. And they say, no, it's an English school. They're going to study in English, but it's in the Netherlands, but so you still have that familiar. So I'm saying, well, okay, then you would have an advantage because, you are English speaking, you went to school in English. So I'm assuming that maybe other students that had the challenge to pursue the study in the Dutch language, now you would be a little bit more at ease,
Precisely. I was speaking with my son, coincidentally, I think this week or last week, because I was not aware that our students coming from the best islands, because we are part of the Netherlands, their tuition is less. Because I was speaking to him about his tuition, because I was looking at his enrollment proof, and I saw the amount, and it wasn't the first time I saw it, it was the first time I paid attention. And it was, I think, 2,600 euros. And I found when we hear the amounts that are paid in the U.S., I was surprised, and I said that seems so affordable.
Oh, so you mean you have some money over? Well,
Definitely, definitely. So you're looking at those things and saying, it is. He told me. Then he started to explain when I said the amount. He said yes, but some of his classmates pay more
oh yeah.
because they're not Dutch. They come from other places. So
International students.
International students, because he said he too attends a international school. So he was explaining me how it goes, etc. And I was wondering if in our time it was like that as well. You never paid attention to those things. You just paid your fee, you went to school, and you never worried who was who.
Yeah.
But
that is one of the benefits of the Dutch system. Everybody is paying the same what do you call
Tuition.
Tuition. So the Dutch, once you have the Dutch nationality,
yes,
you're all, and it doesn't matter the school, you're all paying the same amount, and it's a relatively low amount. When we went through the document with the assistance they are given to the United States,
yes.
and so, and you see the astronomical amounts that they charge for tuition over there, it's not comparable.
Precisely. And I want to say this, like I said earlier when I started this, that the Netherlands is getting a hit, and I find that at the same time, because I know the commissioner said at a given point that you don't hear as often about the successes, and I think we choose not to highlight them. I know there's a student from Statia that went to the Netherlands, and I find even in our time, it wasn't common for you to finish in your 4 years. Not a habit study, you understand? You always had a delay, some kind of study pen that you were missing sometime from the first grade, but to see them now going through in 4 years like nothing, and they are there. Their stories that may not be mentioned because I saw this on social media, but we need to highlight those successes too, and those students who are doing their 4 years and on to masters like nothing, so they are there, and I hope to see these students back and tell their story, because not all of them, some of them may be humble beginnings and started maybe with our language as their second language, and they're doing it.
That's
true. So it is possible, and I think we need to just, give our students the view of all the opportunities that are out there, not give none a better, highlighted better or more advantages than the other. We are just proud that you are going to study, and it could be in Alaska, as long as you can afford it, and your parents as well. We encourage any kind of further study.
Yeah, and there are some interesting remarks in the article. There's an article, but we're going to get to it a little later. Some things that we say in general, and I question whether we believe what we say, or we just say it because it sounds nice in a speech. But we get to that. And I wanted to, it looked like you read my quote of the day.
I didn't.
Here's the quote of today. As the saying goes, poverty begets poverty. Poverty begets poverty. Limited financial resources often restrict access to education and development opportunities, creating a cycle of disadvantage that can extend across generations. What do you think about that quote?
Definitely, we speak about, a vicious cycle, where because of your humble beginnings, or maybe your parents not having the education that, you end up as a child, that you end up in the same thing, because sometimes those parents would not encourage you, because they feel they made it without the education, and then that is the only environment that It isn't a lack of ambition, it's as far as you can see. Sometimes our world is small, literally and figuratively. So then you beget poverty from poverty. Our students have to want to rise above their circumstances, to want better, and to know that there's a world out there. So thank God for modern technology, and you know that things have changed and our students are open to the world before they even enter. So I'm glad to know that they know of everything that is out there, at least via social media. They know the possibilities, and still even when you go there more, you never even, I think we touched the tip of the iceberg on paper. And when you go and you see the amount of studies, that is why I feel too early. A lot
Yeah.
change study when
Yeah.
they go. But
I hear studies I didn't even know that,
yeah,
that was a study.
that was a study, exactly. So students, trust me, don't limit yourself to our shores. You know, I always say we went and studied what we thought the island needed because we were so sure we were coming back home.
Yeah.
You know, but never mind alone what Station needs, and maybe Station doesn't know that it needs it.
Exactly.
You know, you go and study whatever you want, and you create your own little hole when you come back. You make us need it. You know, maybe we didn't even think of it. So I'm glad that poverty begets poverty. It is something you do not have to limit yourself to the idea. It does give you a disadvantage in the beginning, but it doesn't limit you.
You can overcome.
Yes.
You can overcome it.
Definitely.
You know, there's certain things that I notice from my upbringing that I see certain things happen and I'm thinking, in my day, I could have never done that. You know, I had an uncle, Uncle Dennis, and he would correct your English excessively. To the point that you really think before you speak. You really
But I
have
forget what I was going to say.
you really have to pay attention, because if you said it wrong, he's gonna correct you, and he correct you loud, and it don't
Yeah.
matter who they are, he's correcting you. So you learn to, when you're with your friends, you speak a certain way, but when you get around people, you got to speak different.
Precisely.
Not everybody learns that,
To switch.
to switch. And I have seen it. I don't want to say it, because you know, station's so small, and you say something, people know exactly who it is. You know, I have picked up certain things, and let me just put it this way: at a graduation ceremony, which is a formal event, at least growing up, we didn't have much graduation ceremonies, but you know, a distinction between a formal event. If you go to church, that's a formal event. Certain places, you know,
You don't speak as
the way you dress alone tell you, hey,
Yes.
this is a special occasion. You got to act differently. And the thing that I sit and I hear, I'm saying, how come? Why would a child say a certain thing in this setting?
Yeah.
You wait until you're with your friends, you're out in the road, you can say whatever you want. But in this setting, you act a certain way. And it's not to be prejudiced or to be biased or to be against culture or anything like that. You want to improve the success possibilities for your children. And it's about that. You know, it's you know,
It's unfortunate too that we don't realize the way we speak is a reflection of who you are. It's a way that strangers judge your level of intelligence.
good or bad.
Yes, good or bad. You know, they stamp you.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's sometimes the first point of interaction. Remember, they always say you don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah.
And we speak about it on the radio before, you know, that especially our young people, they need to be aware of how they carry themselves. Your life is an interview. You know, persons remember you past the moment that you came and presented yourself. They remember maybe you on the road and the way you carried yourself. If you were polite, if you greeted when you passed, you know.
Yeah.
The island is small, we're going to remember that. And you're going to see beyond your performance, because I always say an interview is a performance. You're going to show me your best, but who are you outside of that? And so we need to be more mindful of how we speak, you know, because why do we speak? To communicate. And if the person on the other end cannot follow you, or you're offensive, so they tune you out, then you are not getting your message across. So, and there are already barriers.
Yeah, there's enough
You know,
barriers.
yeah, so you create more by the way you
Yes,
speak. And, you know, I always admire some of our neighboring islands when you hear their students speak. And trust me, when they speak with their friends, you cannot understand a word they are saying. It's their dialect, it's, you know, their slang, you must say. But when they go up there and maybe in a debate or a presentation, and they are so eloquent, they are so poised, and they are so well read, you know, they can speak on so various topics. And I miss that. I miss that in our students. And I must say, Ernie, we didn't have a debate club growing up or so, but I think the church played a major role in our growing up and how we presented ourselves, you know. You don't have the fear really to speak in public because you stood every weekend in front of the church, and whether you read the Bible or you memorized the text, you know, you were, those are things, gifts that you get.
A recitation.
Yeah, recitation. So, and I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, the role of the church where that is concerned, we always say is less. It is less from where we were growing up. But not to stray away from the topic, our young people definitely need to know how to carry themselves and be aware that people are looking.
But and poverty is not only the lack of financial means, but you know, you also, if you really want to excel, you know, you got to also see what it takes. You know, you cannot be displaying this gangster behavior. You know, the young people with the pants pulled down and the this and the that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Maybe we're too old, Ernie. We don't think it cute.
You know, but I look at it as giving yourself the best,
yeah.
possibilities for success. You know, when you make your money, you can do what you want.
And not only that, you don't have to please people. I always say you please yourself as a young person, but I wonder if you want to ask them sometimes when you look back at these pictures, or you look back at yourself and look back at what you did, you know, you have to want to feel good about who you were and what you did too. You know, it isn't about what nobody else thinks, because we always say you can't pay a bill with nobody's opinion, but it's you. You self need to be proud of who you are and what you've done.
We have information from the Island Council, but I want to go to the cover first,
Yeah.
and then we can go to the information Island Council member after. And I noticed the picture you had of Miss Bennett, and the article said that she was at the FDA Roosevelt Airport, PJIA.
That's where the picture was taken?
Well, PJIA is the Princess Juliana International
Exactly.
Airport. So it was in St. Martin that she took the picture with the students. And there is there's an article in the government. I think it's on the government website about it. And it said the students who recently completed their secondary education will pursue various academic programs at universities, colleges, and vocational institutions across the country to reach their full potential.
Yes.
That is basically what they're doing, right? This important milestone marks the beginning of a journey filled with opportunities for personal growth, academic achievement, and professional development. The students will be pursuing studies in fields including business, healthcare, hospitality, education, information technology, and other disciplines that are essential to the island's future development. That article sounds so warm and nice, and you know, these are the words that you want to have in an article like that. Now it's here. We are incredibly proud of these young people as they take this significant step towards their futures. Their determination and commitment to education serves as an inspiration to the entire community. We look forward to seeing them succeed and apply their knowledge and skills for the benefit of our island. You know, and I wonder if this is true.
How do you mean?
does it serve as an inspiration to the entire community here in Stacia? And do we really look forward to seeing them succeed and apply their knowledge and skills for the benefit of our island? Are we willing to change when they come back and tell us, do it so instead of so?
No.
You know, are we really willing to listen to another way of doing things?
You know, you don't want to generalize, and you know, I'm gonna try and keep today's program light. You know, we just laugh. I don't really know some of the old time songs, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Walton Smith had a song about liking foreign. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I never heard a song, but I've always heard it quoted. And there's a saying, Ernie, since you like sayings, your own lies is by Cheddar Harris.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, as a people, we like to see them come back, but we don't like to, how do you say, accept that they may know more than you did or do. Because if you have to work with them, or maybe if you don't have to work with them, but I won't say they always bring it in the best way possible. Some of them come back with a chip on the shoulder, kind of arrogant, as if they come to tell you how to do it, and that is not the way. We have to look at it as improvement, and of course it's how the message is brought as well. But when we speak about opening a way and looking forward to them coming back, it brings me back to my request in the Island Council about us getting a list of professions that we see we will need in the future. Like I said, everybody has to follow their own path, study what you want. But I know when we left very, how do you say, not knowing. We were looking for more guidance. Tell us what you need. You know, what areas are there? Because our world was smaller. So we chose professions that were in your face. But
correct.
Nowadays, like I said earlier, they have a whole world open to them before. The internet wasn't such a big thing when we were growing up. We didn't even have cellular phones and WhatsApp. It wasn't so common like it is now. And so where are we in really opening a way? Like you said, are we open to them coming back? And how much are we doing as a government to welcome them back, to pave the way, to make it easier for them to come back? You know, all like we're speaking about the vergrijzing.
Yes.
That our civil servants are thinning out. They're aging out. They're aging out. A lot of are even leaving. They're leaving the service earlier. They're pursuing other goals, you understand? So people are leaving. Government is no longer the most attractive thing out there. So how are we competing with that? How are we making it open for them? How much of them do you see come back and maybe do a stage to see that, hey, they are still thinking on us. They are looking in this direction.
Or when they apply for a stage.
Yeah. How are they accepting?
Are you answering their emails?
Not only that, I know, I don't know if it changed, but I chose to do a stage out here, my last, and in the Netherlands you are paid. Do we have that here? You understand? Because remember, they are coming home to do the stage, but their expenses in the Netherlands continue. You understand? So how are we meeting them halfway to make it feasible or attractive for them to come out? Do we have a stagevergoeding? You understand, to cater to these? And I'm hearing more and more that we are having interns, but they hardly are our own. You know, they are interns from the ministries, from elsewhere, from, you know, we had one or two from maybe the region, but I haven't seen much of our own. So there are ways, in the sense of, like you said, the words are nice, and it would be nice if you can put it really into some active things that we are actually doing to welcome these students, or help pave the way, help them know that there's a spot waiting for them, and I just always say you don't have to come back right away. Get as much experience out there as you can and live your life, you know. Get some life lessons. And then you come back and you serve, you know. Then you're sure this is where you want to be. Because sometimes they come a year or two and then they leave again. So, because it isn't what they thought it would be. But trust me, it isn't easy when you come back, even as your own. You're not accepted. You know, it isn't, salaries have improved, Ernie, but it's a sacrifice to come back. So we need to make it easier so that we have our own. We know how much FTEs the government is missing. We would like to see them filled by our own.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to be negative.
No.
You know, their journey represents not only a personal accomplishment but also an investment in the island's future.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it really an investment in the island's future? Because if you make an investment, you're going to track the investment. When you buy a car, you're going to service it, you know, you're going to wash it. If it got to go 10 years, you want it to go for that 10 years, you're watching it. But are we really watching our students? Are we really watching that investment and, you know, doing what we can to maintain that investment, you know, to make sure that, you know, whatever struggles they may have, that, you know, you are helping where you can help.
Precisely. So we indeed definitely need to follow our students. And as a community, we do follow them in an informal way. We ask parents how their kids are doing, you know, maybe what they're studying, if you're going in depth, you know, but we hardly, you know, you would hear the parents proudly say, they're doing good, man, in the third year, for instance, or they move to this, or they get a new apartment. You know, you would get those kind of updates, but as a government, we need to follow them. We need to know what we have out there. We need to know who's going to finish study by the time XYZ go with pension. You know, so you could already start to groom them from, hey, you know, you think about coming home and what have you, and we need to get more competitive. We need to start to offer more. Like I said, you know, it's a sacrifice, and nobody, I'd always say, we ain't got to beg you to come back home. It's something you have to want.
Yeah.
But I talk about things like simple things like your debt. These students have a debt.
Yeah.
They have a debt when they come back, you understand? So when they take less in salary, it makes it harder for them to pay back that debt.
Yeah.
There's a cost involved in studying, and the government does not contribute. RCN does. They help their employees that have student loans. They have a regeling, a provision that, you know, they assist with certain things. We don't have it as a government. We need to start to do that as well. Back in the day, they used to say when you come back home and serve, you get a portion, kwijtgescholden, that they take off a portion of your debt. I'm sorry, but that is where some of our money has to go.
Yeah.
Make it attractive to get them back home.
In my days, they said you work 5 years for the government and you don't have to pay back nothing.
Nothing. Yep. Well, I didn't get that.
No, but these are things that we need to look at.
Yes.
I'm telling you. I have some points here. I don't know if you want to run through them. Information Island Council member.
Yeah, we can talk on some, you know. There, what I wanted to touch on, we got some unpleasant surprises. At least it was a surprise for me. Those stucco bills. A lot of hit us hard. And I just want to say, those of us that can make use of the energy subsidy, please go out, my people. August 12th, they are available again by the public entity. Go and see if you can get some help with that stucco bill, because they're not jokey. We recently had an institution, the National Institute of Human Rights, has established and have a special department, special for the best islands, and I hope that persons are aware. You know, a lot of times we speak of discrimination, and we need to pay more attention to this. And it isn't necessarily discrimination based on color. We need to look at disabilities as well. Are you disabled and cannot access all buildings, especially government buildings? That is a form of discrimination. You know, so get involved and ask your questions and they are there to assist, to help you with your cases. I was told that they have their first case already, and discrimination is a serious thing. Like I said, women being paid less than men for doing the same thing. It's 2026, but trust me, it's still going on.
You sure?
It is not as blatant. Of course, you need to cover it up, but things are still,
okay.
there are still disadvantages
I mean, we're fighting
between,
this a long time.
yeah, between male and female, and thanks to Miss Inez Shaw, Maz,
Yeah.
she did help
Correct.
with a lot of that, but you still have some, how to say, inequality, not just between the sexes and color, but you may have it religiously as well, you know. If you choose not to work on a certain day or what have you, you may be chosen when you go apply to and you're pregnant as a woman and tell you no, you know, you can't get a job. We don't know that, but that is discrimination. You're not allowed to do those things. So please go out there, be informed of your rights, human rights. This isn't a favor. This is something that you're entitled to, just being a human. We spoke briefly, I think, sometime this year about the unemployment benefit 2027. This will be implemented on the 1st of January. It's not the WW, the werkloosheidswet, like in Holland. There are some differences. It's a provision for a short period of 3 months. It is a pilot, so they're looking to evaluate it and change it, but for now, it is different, and in my opinion, still better than the understand, because the amount is so much different. The difference with the werkloosheidsvoorziening that will be implemented the 1st of January is the fact that you will be getting a percentage of your last salary. So, of course, you need to have this documented. You can be getting paid under the table and claim unemployment benefit, because this is something that employers have to pay into. It's an insurance.
Okay.
So, but it is much better than the current situation. You understand? It is 3 months longer that you do not have to go on any other type of assistance that will really throw you back in a hole. So please come out. There will be information sessions in November. Come out and be informed, and of course they will advertise via the usual mediums, and employers and employees will be invited.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these laws, I wonder if the people know them, the employees or the employer itself.
Exactly.
Another one we spoke about before is the severance pay. That law changed from the former Netherlands Antilles to how it
Yes.
is now. It's a lot more beneficial for workers now than the law that we had before.
Exactly.
But you know, many times people don't even know that the law is there.
Exactly. And you know, this is not, I want to, as much as possible, keep my day job and my political job separated. So, but in a small community, you know where you can go and get the information. Be very careful. Even when you're about to retire, don't think it's as cut and dry as that. You just leave on your 65th birthday and it's over. You too are entitled still to some severance pay.
Correct.
And that is as far as I will go regarding that.
Yes, you know, and
Yeah.
employers, when you get an advice from the service, the employment service from the government, please take it seriously. Don't put it aside and say, you know, I can't understand that. Whenever I get something from a government organization, I have to trust that what that government organization is telling me is true.
Yeah.
You know, it could be that it's not true, but my first thought is not that this can't be true.
Exactly. But
My
even
first
so,
thought is this is how it is. And then
But if
I
you
could,
doubt
you know,
it, there are ways and means to find out. You know, always ask a question. And I hate when people apologize for asking a question.
No.
Don't apologize, ask. Because if you don't ask, you won't know. You know, and there is no stupid question, at least I think so. But of course there are times when, you know, there are exceptions, but come and go to the relevant office, and if you don't, maybe they can send you to where you should be. But always ask your questions.
Yeah, and the government servant should treat you respectfully, even if they you know, they wonder why you would ask such a simple question. Just treat you respectfully and explain and
Yeah.
understand where you're coming from.
Exactly.
Understand the person.
That's right.
There is a moment where we will have to choose which status, European status, we would like, whether we want to keep our OCT status or our, they call it outermost region status. The outermost region means that you're going to integrate into the European Union, and there might be reasons why or why not. That discussion will be coming up. Also, a discussion that will be coming up also is the Wahlberg change regarding the future role of the Kingdom representative.
Yes.
Discussions will be had on the specifics of the change of the law.
Yeah, but this is something that we have discussed many times, especially the role of the Kingdom representative. It has been a hot topic, and I know that an extension has been requested on our reaction on this, you know, and I feel we have that ship has sailed. I feel we've given it as much attention as it needs.
Yeah.
I don't think it is that important. I really feel there are other things more pressing, and a lot of energy and time is going into it. And
you don't want to go rehash the whole...
yes, the whole thing, but you know, that is my opinion, and where it varies, I guess people will be free to speak their mind.
CLA agreements. I see that the Central Committee requested the registrars to provide them with a copy of the CLA agreements. They said in the Central Committee meeting on the 29th of June. And I do not know what the reason was that they requested that. But when I was looking at one of the agreements, I noticed something that I didn't notice before. You know, I have a Calypso say I didn't know.
Yeah. I didn't know. There's a one. I know that one.
Oh my goodness. It says, right, I translated the quote. It goes to show how certain things can be written, and the way it's written, you don't understand what it is they're saying, right? So I translated it in English. In the revised pay structure, every employee comes out ahead financially. The percentage by which salaries increase varies depending on the grade and step. So we would say the scale and the step.
Yeah.
At the start of the pay structure, this can go up by many tens of percent. The highest pay grades see a lower but still substantial percentage increase in salary. What is many tens of percent?
So 10, 20, 30. So several. So it isn't just like 10%.
So it could be 10%, not many tens. Many tens mean at least 20%.
Not that many, that's just two. It's a relative term. Many for you and many for me, you know, it's relative. It's how you see it. So
No, but
it gotta be at least 30, Ernie.
at least 30.
At least 30. For me, there are many tens.
But this is what I'm saying. I can't imagine a salary raise of 30%. Let me put it this way. When I first read I think I read there was a how do you say announcement, a statement in the press statement. I didn't get this idea that salaries went up many tenths of a percentage.
Okay.
Because of the salary structure, the new salary structure that was
Look,
introduced.
let's go back over the sentence.
Okay.
At the start of the pay structure.
Yeah.
Okay? So the pay structure, I'm trying to translate it because I know the Dutch terms.
It's
The
something
pay structure is,
that.
the schaal. There's the pay structure and the start are the lower salaries,
Yes,
right? We agree
yes,
on that.
yes.
Now the lower salaries were actually illegal as they were below the minimum. The minimum went up, so those had to go up. So it is referring at the start of the pay structure. So those are going up with tens, many tens.
You say at least, okay.
You understand?
At least 30%.
Yes, those higher ones ain't getting nothing. They ain't getting many tens. Let me say it like that.
You get substantial.
Exactly. So that's why it said at the start of the pay structure. Those. So by the time you carry them up to the legal minimum wage, and then you give them a little something, then you can maybe speak of many tens. Because some of them actually, they had to be completely wiped away because they were below the minimum wage.
Yeah.
So it appears like you did something, but in essence you didn't. You were just complying
You're complying.
with the law.
But still, if my salary go up by 30%, I'm somewhere along the line I'm feeling a blessing. I mean, I'm talking about my history of how government functioned in the past. This is unheard of. That salaries are raised many of tens of percentage.
Okay, but
You
again,
hear that salary go up 2%, 3%, 5%. You understand?
again, how much of this will trickle down to the civil servant in the sense of because gross can go up, right?
Yeah.
But with the gross increase, it maybe put you in a bracket where you become responsible for certain things too.
Well, there's
You understand?
always that
Exactly.
Border,
So
that border
because
line.
then you end up paying more towards your pension premium, more towards this, more towards that. So in the end, in the essence, when the powers that be take what they think is theirs, how much does a person really actually leave back with? Do they feel the tens of the percent in their hand, or is it on paper?
And how do we know? Would somebody go on Facebook, Instagram,
And put their
YouTube,
payslip?
and TikTok and say, look, I got a 40%
I don't think so.
salary raise?
40% earning? I don't think so.
Well, nobody gonna do that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you would hear about the negative things.
Yes.
Somebody, the government flood my yard, or you would hear about the problems, but you're not gonna hear about the blessings.
No. And then again too, in the sense of, I find it strange because let's be real, who are gonna be in these lower skills? Cleaners. How many government cleaners it has? None? We privatized that.
Yeah,
So who are we talking about?
no idea.
Yeah, like I said, because those that are in higher skills, we're not speaking of them. It says at the start of the pay structure. Who do you have at the start of the pay structure? I don't want to assume, some people may be carrying out a function, but it went from one function to the next and you couldn't touch the pay, so it's still the same. You understand? So you can't base on the function that the person is carrying out. But we always know that the cleaners are the start of the pyramid, must I say, for lack of a better word, and the cleaners are no longer ours.
Yeah.
So I really don't know who they're speaking about, but that is the only group that comes to mind.
And the reason why I bring it also is not only government was faced with the issue of the raise in minimum wage,
No.
also let's say government-owned companies as well. And did they do it the way government did it, where they made this raise of tens of percentage? Or did they do it in a different way?
No.
But I just mentioned it because when I read it, I read it differently than when I read it the first time. I didn't notice this change because it was not expressed in a percentage.
Precisely, because I don't know how the government does it. I know, for instance, RCN, until you reach the top of your scale, every year, unless there's a contraindication, you go up a trade, which is a step, right?
Yeah,
What you call
yeah.
a step.
A step, yeah.
A step is what? Maybe
government-
$60,
The
$50,
government
$60.
should be doing it the same.
Yeah, they should be. I don't know if they are.
Yeah.
But unless you reach the top. So those of you that think you ain't raised, maybe you're there so long you reach the top of your scale.
And if you reach the top, you know.
Yeah, you're not gonna climb. But it's a difference annually of $60, 50, 60, I think. But I know the difference that I feel in my hand, in my salary. So, like I said, at the top, a change has been done or carried through, but how much of that trickles down to you?
Yeah.
And so, like I said, a statement like this sounds pretty, but I think an example should have been given. Like scale this, scale that. You're going to go from gross this to netto this,
True.
and then you would
Because attached to it, they did put a new scale, but they didn't put an old one.
exactly. So you need to be able to compare. But yeah, I know the government too is fighting for a seat at the table. I don't know how much that will change, because I know we were hit hard as a government with the back pay that we had to pay out, the retroactive 36 hours as well, you know, in the delay in carrying it out, and I find that was unfortunate. You know, I think I heard there was an understanding that you could do it when you could, which was not so. So they delayed in the implementation, which gave us a bill, and now I hope that we keep up, you know.
Well, they
and
did
don't-
make the adjustment.
yeah,
5.5%
the adjustments have been
50%.
made, they are keeping
It has
up.
been made.
But what I mean is how much will change if you get a seat at the table. A seat at the table only means that I can take your opinion along in my deliberation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you won't have to carry it out as well. You know, so
Why are you looking for the seat? To suppress the raises or to enhance
Yeah.
the raises?
I doubt it. I think it's the way I'm hearing it is because we have been faced with a lot of how do you say, checks we couldn't cash as a government. We couldn't comply with a lot of the things, you know. So
You have-
having to keep up.
So then the RCN is a good thing or a bad thing? The reason why I say that,
It depends on how you look at it.
they are the example.
Yeah.
They are the example and we following them. Which I would think for a civil servant is a good thing. Because you can say, hey look, they gone up over there. What are you doing for me?
The thing it is, you know, I get ticklish when you compare both. But I thought, because look at this, they delayed the implementation of the 36 hour.
Yes.
When they did implement it, they still implemented it the way that they wanted to. When I say they gave you 36 hours but no choice, you had to take it Friday afternoon.
Okay. Oh,
That is what I mean, you know. And while RCN, we choose and we take our 36 hour. There are different, or how we fill it in. We can work for 4 times 9, which most of us did, an extra day off. Who doesn't want that? You know, so you could have played with it. I want to be off on Mondays. Of course, Mondays and Fridays are the days because you want to extend your weekend. But government was forced to take it Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
So I think there are ways that you can comply, but you still do it in your way. And of course, you can't pay in a different way, if you catch what I mean. So they had to pay the money.
Yeah.
The money was no discussion. But I think if we say it's a good thing or a bad thing, they are leading in it, and I guess their pockets are deeper. But the salaries that I'm seeing are not exorbitant. So I think it's things that the civil servants deserve. So if the government have to comply, then yes, so be it. Then we have to find a way to do it. Because at the same time too, I feel people should be paid for the work that they do. And we often talk about the civil servants, but we never talk about the fact that a lot of them are feeling unappreciated, or that they're not compensated adequately for the work that they do. So, you know, it can be a good thing.
To tell you the truth, I don't think there was ever a time when civil servants felt that they were compensated adequately
For the work that they do?
that they do. I think that is going to be an ongoing situation.
Yes.
You know, but it is interesting, you know, to look at what is happening. And like you say, even if they implement it differently, somebody could say, but look, the RCM doing it like this over there. Maybe that's a next step, you know, for another time that you know, depends on what it is.
And that's what I mean, because like I said, why is it that if you come back from studying and you work for RCN, that they compensate you for your study costs? So obviously there are choices that you can make as an organization,
Yeah.
even if you know you have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
So I hope the seat.
But who is paying for this salary raise? Who pays for the salary raise? Who? Because let me say it like this: the local government took it over. They also introduced a new loan gebouw salary
Yeah.
structure, and the salaries went up.
According to me, we had a budget discussion. It is, we are compensated for it. It is asked, and that is why I think it is the delay, because it is asked to put it on or to be compensated from the vrije uitkering, I
The
think
free
it is.
allowance.
Yeah, so that we can comply.
Yeah, but it could only be the free allowance.
Yeah,
Because if you look at the income streams of government, our local taxes,
can cover.
many of them went
Yeah.
backward. So it could only be the free allowance.
Exactly. We're speaking about, I mean to say, I was surprised to hear that the government and the RCN are, I mean, we knew as RCN we were going to get it. We're getting additional 500 month end, and the government is complying, as far as I understood.
An additional 500 month end.
Yes. Actual 5, not gross and net.
That is good. It's
It-
good.
it-
You know,
yes.
I like the fact that the civil servants are able to see some financial benefit, you know.
Exactly. And it is a lot better than when I was there. That is for sure.
Nice. I see the government have some drones.
Yes.
So if there is a emergency and you see a drone outside your window, they're not trying to spy on you.
How do you tell the difference between a government drone and my neighbor drone?
They're looking for, they're using the drones to survey the area and, you know, see if somebody is lost, if they can find them, or if they want to just have an idea what the damage is. They get a nice drone picture of an area that, you know, I think this is a very nice idea, especially maybe after hurricane. You know, sometimes several trees are knocked
Exactly.
down, blocking roads, whatever, things you inside your little house would never know. But if you're able to get a drone picture, you know, I think that would be very good.
Yeah, I think when it comes to our disaster, you know, response, I think we have come a long way. I think their headquarters used to be the fire department or somewhere back in the day. Now we have a beautiful new building,
Yeah.
you know, and we're keeping up with the times. These drones are just a next step in modern technology. It is what it is. Everybody has these things, so as a government, why shouldn't we? If it facilitates better and quicker responses.
Yeah. You know, make a better upname of what the situation is. Maybe
Yes.
it could lead to funding coming loose too.
Definitely need funding because these little toys ain't cheap. So we need they're fragile and of course the best of the best, you're going to pay money. So technology or any kind of improvement comes with a price tag.
Do you drive with your seatbelt on?
Yes, because it makes an annoying sound. So, and I refuse to sit on my seatbelt. So I just get into it. It's not, I don't know any different now, you know.
You know, I read this article, the police did a check and they say most drivers on St. Eustatius caught without seatbelt during police check.
Yeah.
You know, why? Then we pretend that they didn't know that the law has changed, that it is now mandatory to wear a seatbelt. You know, I don't know. There was so much publicity given when that law passed and when that change was made. You tell me people today still don't know. I think they know when they get a fine.
Yeah.
When they get a fine and they have to pay the fine, then all of a sudden everybody gonna know, hey, put on your seatbelt.
I just don't feel, I feel strange now without it, you know. And just like you say, it was implemented a long time ago, just the helmets.
The helmets.
And but I have seen people go to great lengths, Ernie, extreme lengths, not to wear that seatbelt. I have seen the hook being cut off
Yeah.
and stuck in the thing so that the automatic beeping would stop. Just not to wear the seatbelt, and I just say, why not just put it on? Why not just put it on? And trust me, for some reason now I feel safer with it. I drive all over mostly with it, and it is a safety measure. It comes with a car for a reason. It isn't optional.
And like you said, the car even starts to beep telling you, hey, put on your
Put
seatbelt.
on your seatbelt. So you have several reminders.
I don't think we have an excuse to be caught without our seatbelts.
Yes.
I see the time is past.
Yes.
Station launches dedicated renal care clinic for
Yes.
chronic kidney disease
Mm-hmm.
patients. You know, these words are so unfamiliar. Renal care clinic.
Yes.
Renal care. What do you think about this?
It's what I think about the launch. I think it's amazing
Yeah.
that we finally reached to this point. It's a prevention clinic. You know, it's a name that it thought of consciously because I didn't want to give it a negative tone, you know, and this is because we have seen such an increase over the years of our kidney patients, you know, and our kidney disease patients, people that are suffering with some kind of disease related to it too as well, not just the kidney disease. So I always believe in prevention. You know, it's better to prevent something from happening than deal with it when it's too late. Yeah, prevention rather than cure. And I see the sacrifice that these patients also have to make. You know, those several trips weekly, good weather or bad, you know, and it is taxing for them to even have a normal, you know, quality of life. Because 3 times a week you have to go, you know, so employment is difficult. Your family life is put on the strain. And
You got stress from the airline.
yes, it is always something. And you know, it is not easy. So to see, especially the fact, what made it extra special is what we were speaking about earlier, that one of our own will be heading this with vast experience, which is Nurse Zenaida Paul and Suarez. I think we all know her. She has a personal investment in this, you know, having seen close members of her family go through this.
Yeah.
So this is something that is a great achievement for the island. You're seeing more areas of prevention when it comes to health being tackled. And this is just amazing because this now, kidney disease is something that a lot of our patients have, or people suffer with hypertension, diabetes, obesity. You know, those are things that they're part of our culture. Almost everybody got high blood pressure, everybody got sugar, they don't see diabetes, you know, and not realizing how serious these things are and how far they can lead. So this is a amazing thing, and I hope it will be a great success. And we can't close without speaking about finally having a executive director at GVP. The notoriously known GVP. It was only bad news after bad news when it came to GVP the last couple of months. And this is a milestone, a proud moment that we can say. We know Mirella Time. She's been here. She served the island via OCWA. She's, you know, become a part of the community.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see her back, and especially in this capacity. And it gives us hope that things are on the up and up, and it can only go up from here. You understand? You're hearing that the school will soon be finished. So all around you're seeing, you know, improvements and what have you. So I am looking forward to only great things coming from here, because I feel we hit a spot where only up is now the option. You know, so we want to wish her, but especially the board and everyone, much success. We're facing a new school year. So Monday everybody's back to school, and yeah, this was good news at the right time.
Yeah, indeed. Looking forward to hearing great things, and
Yes.
also change the structure of the board.
Yes,
Whereas certain parts of the board would have an executive function and certain boards would have a supervisory function.
Precisely.
You know, it is all based on the law, the education law that we fall under, and certain designs are there to enable the organization to function better.
Precisely.
But organizations depend on people carrying out their roles. You know, a lot of times we get so friendly, we get so close with each other that
We can't remain professional and objective.
you know, and disagree.
Yeah.
You know,
Feel free to disagree. Yeah.
somebody brings something, you know, because of your relationship with them, you don't want to disagree with them. Whereas the role that you are given, maybe you might have a different viewpoint that you have to bring forward for the betterment of the organization.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
we need to stop seeing a disagreement as a declaration of war.
Yeah.
It ain't all that serious. I just see it different than you. That's all.
Yeah.
And we can try and find a middle ground, you know.
And disagree motivated, and
Yes.
not just disagree.
Because you
disagree,
just don't exactly.
motivated based on this, based on that.
And then
you know.
persons can understand and maybe even agree with you after. But yeah, that is a story for another day. And I think it would be a miss of us if we didn't mention the fact that Mr. Gerard Brokel will also be a part of the board. I always am glad when people have a vested interest besides him being local or what have you. I like that he has children in the school, so it's personal. You
Yeah.
know, I always find it strange, I've said it before, people on boards with children, but they have them in another school. So why it is you know that I don't know, that you put your child in another school but you're on the board. You know, and so the fact that he too has a vested interest in seeing the school succeed, besides being an island skint. He's from here, so it is nice to see the revamping of the board. And
I think parents in the school also they experience the problems that they're having.
exactly.
They have a better understanding of that problem than
Precisely.
somebody who's just on
Just
the board but not really have any involvement.
Definitely. So we're looking forward to the changes. We're going to close out by wishing the students, our local and those abroad, a very successful school year, new school year. Our teachers and whatever capacity and role that you have in the school, know that you are important, that you are appreciated, and you have the community support and backing. You have the very heart in your hands of our nation, our students, literally the future. So we want to wish you all the best, a safe and successful 2026-27 school year.
Thank you very much. And with that, I would like to thank the radio station for carrying our program. I'd like to thank my guests for being here today, and I also would like to thank all those that tune into our program and invite you to continue to support the radio program of the Democratic Party. Thank you very much.